guys. I'm glad you're still with me. Welcome back. We are in week 2 and we have 2 chapters this week, chapter 2 and chapter 3. So let's get started. Now I provide you a copy of just the PowerPoint and I do want you to look at all the slides, but then I also give you an audio. Now in the audio, I'm only going to hit some of the slides because the audio only lets me record up to 15 minutes. So you probably want to do both the whole paper, so to speak, PowerPoint, and then the PowerPoint with my audio, just to make super duper sure that you're getting everything you need to do well on the midterm and the final exam. Okay, so what are the really truly important things? Well, I shouldn't say week 1, it's to say objectives. Okay, fix that, great. All right, explain the role of judges in both civil and criminal cases. We're going to learn the difference, some of the differences between some of the attorneys. If you're doing this for the paralegal program, you'll learn way more about that as we go on through the courses. Here we're just going to mainly learn about a couple different types. We'll explain a little bit more about the participants in the criminal law system, and we'll talk somewhat about court personnel. It's kind of a broad overview, if you will. All right, next slide. And again, this is a mini table of contents. If you're looking along with your book, it kind of lets you know what we're about to talk about. Moving on. All right, judges. Okay, so I'll just tell you the truth. My personal experience with contempt. I used to be one of the legal personnel for Jack in the Box. And so that's a fast food company in this. And I'll let you read that. But I thought you might like to know the little behind the scenes information that it was Jack in the Box. All right, so one of the reasons I give you the paper, or just the PowerPoint, excuse me, is so you can click on the links and see them for yourself. Here with the audio, you're not going to be able to click on the sheriff's one, so I'll try to do what I did before and make it a separate link as well. But this is an amazing website to go to. You can find out who's in jail, who's got a temporary restraining order against them, what is the charge against somebody. So I highly recommend using this. Now Chula Vista has another website, but this is like for the county. Like if you want to know specifically who's in Chula Vista jail, you need to go to that website, but this is kind of more general and broad, if you will. All right, so I've provided you with a YouTube video clip, which won't work from the audio, but hopefully you've also just done the PowerPoint and you can see it. I often show this movie in my other classes. It's just such a great movie about the legal system, and if you're at all interested in the legal system, I highly recommend that you check out this movie. All right, one of the reasons I wanted to put more information in about judges is because we just don't have enough diversity of judges. And so I think if more people know what the qualifications are, then we can have more diversity on the bench. And it's nothing that anybody ever told me when I was a paralegal, when I was studying to be an attorney. I had to figure this out on my own. And basically, for San Diego Superior Court, you have to have at least 10 years experience as an attorney to be a judge. And then there's the Jenny Commission, which just really rakes candidates over the coals and makes sure that they're like as squeaky clean as possible. And it's, I've heard some judges say it's very invasive, but I think we need a lot more diversity on the bench, and if you're somebody who has kind of a squeaky clean background, this might be something for you to consider and think about. All right, so now it's confusing because some judges are appointed and some are elected, and it really depends on the state, and some are recommended by the governor and then they're still elected. So, this isn't an easy process to go through it all, but it's so worth it. So worth it to make sure that, plaintiffs and defendants across our county are, having access to judges of all different backgrounds. All right, so recusal, just to share a personal story. I asked a judge to recuse himself one time. He was showing a lot of bias against a certain defendant. He didn't agree with me. You really have to think about whether or not you want to make an enemy out of that judge by doing a formal motion. So I chose not to go that route. All right, again, we got a little mini table of contents telling you what we're going to tell you, aligns with the book. All right. Also, we need more diversity of attorneys. And so I wanted to give this information to you guys that are interested in it, just so you know what you're getting into, what you need to plan for. But I know a lot of you aren't interested in going to law school as well, so I'll let those of you who are interested in it, read it on your own. And kind of along with that is taking the bar exam. I think before you go to law school, you should know what's coming after this big, huge exam. Pretty intense. And I do think it's still worth reading, even if you personally are not interested in going to law school. It's good to know what these attorneys had to do to become attorneys and just kind of appreciate it as a citizen, as a future paralegal, whatever you may be. All right, so I've actually provided you with a picture of my graduation certificate from the California Western School of Law, which is here in San Diego. Even after you go to law school, after the attorney passes the bar exam, they are officially sworn in, and they actually raise their right hand and have to repeat words to be sworn in. Now, one of the things you need to know that I may test on is that each and every court pretty much requires attorneys to get admitted in that court. Okay? So by passing the bar, I'm good in this state for all state courts. But there are 4 district courts in California, and I had to separately apply to 2 of them. I chose to do 2 because I practice in Southern California. So I chose the Southern District, which is San Diego, and I chose the Central District, which is Los Angeles. I tend to not go above Los Angeles to practice law, so I didn't try the other 2 district courts. But I had to separately apply for each of those district courts. Also, like I told you last PowerPoint presentation, I had to separately apply for the United States Supreme Court. All right, now I provided you this web link. If you just want to Google, it's the California Bar Journal, Attorney Discipline, and it's really interesting because it tells you for that month what attorneys got in trouble for what sort of thing, and sometimes it's not that bad, like maybe the attorney just didn't do their continuing legal education credits when they're audited, or maybe the attorney didn't pay their state bar dues. And sometimes it's really bad, and the attorney is being disbarred. And disbarred is usually for about 10 years, and then the attorney can apply after the 10 years of good conduct to be reinstated. But disbarment is the worst usually that could happen sanction-wise to an attorney from the state bar. All right, new attorneys get in trouble most with the state bar for commingling assets. What does this mean? This means that unfortunately, when they're required to put funds from the client in a separate account known as a client trust account, they're not doing it. They're straight away putting in their own personal account. And this is something that nobody ever really tells people in law school. So I guess it's sort of understandable, but we're usually talking about big retainers from clients, and a retainer is for work you haven't done yet, so you can't put it in your own account until after you've done the work. So that's why it's such a big deal. Why established attorneys get in the most trouble is with the bar. Usually the most frequent reason they get in trouble is because they are not maintaining client contact. They're not emailing them, they're not phoning them, you know, and for a long extended period of time, like maybe 9 months or a year. All right, my favorite job of all time was working in a plaintiff's law firm because we really got to help people. I'll leave that for you to read. Okay, I'll also let you read defense attorneys on your own, partners, prosecutors. Okay, even if I skip slides, I still expect you to read them. And you'll notice, like on this slide, I'll put hints on as to what's a great topic for a midterm. So I'm trying to help you out when you're studying as well. Okay, so I'm kind of skipping around right now, just making sure that I'm covering everything. I want to really especially talk to you in my 15 minutes that I get through this program. And I want you to know, in order to be a paralegal, you only have to have completed 24 units, semester units, and law-related courses. So Southwestern definitely qualifies for this under Business and Professions Code 6450. Take a look at that so you know when you can officially call yourself a paralegal if you are interested in the paralegal program. Also, we have a web page. Just so you know, we have a LinkedIn page too. We're not really doing Facebook, so if you're interested in more information, you can go to the LinkedIn page. Those of you who are in this for the paralegal profession, I've provided you with some other great networking event organizations, and there's also the San Diego Paralegal Association. These are some paralegal activities that those of you who are doing the paralegal program should read. And I just want to emphasize that law is such a great area to go in. I love it. I've been in it 25 years. I wake up every day excited to be in it, and it's because I get to work with clients, and I get to work with people, and I get to help people. It's amazing. Okay, so I'm kind of skipping some stuff. Let's go on to the clerk of the court. The clerk of the court can make or break lawyers and paralegals' jobs, and so it's really important to be nice to them. We'll discuss this more if you do keep going on with the paralegal program. Do try to go to the county assessor's website on your own and check it out. And since my 15 minutes are almost up, I guess I'm done. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to help. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.